Okay, and the second part of my coaching with this particular individual, or the second very impactful component of that, we talked a lot about limiting beliefs. We talked a lot about ceilings, more specifically psychological ceilings. The truth is there is never a physical ceiling there for 99.9% of people, but we self-impose ceilings and we self-impose limits. And sometimes we call it self-sabotage, even though I don't necessarily agree with that, which I'm going to touch on in this video. But the second part of this discussion I had with this individual was I came to them and said that I don't think, or I don't feel as if I am where I should be, or where I think I should be. And I feel like I'm limiting myself. I feel like I'm holding myself back. I feel like there are limiting beliefs, there are ceilings, there's self-sabotage there. And the very simple exercise that we did, which is very profound if you think about it, was asking myself, what are the benefits of being where I am? What are the benefits of not getting to the level I wish I was at? And think about that for a second. There are constantly conscious and unconscious benefits or motives for you being where you currently are, because that's where you are right now. But sometimes what happens is we create a fantasy or an idea of where we think we should be, an idea of I think I should be at a certain component or a certain place, usually because we're comparing ourselves to someone else and we inject that belief from them. But there are certain benefits, conscious and unconscious benefits and motives that we get from being exactly where we are. Now, if we're unaware of those benefits and they're unconscious, and we're comparing our life to a fantasy of how we wished it was, or comparing our results to how we wish they were, then what's going to happen is we're going to be incredibly ungrateful for where we are. We're not going to understand the strategy that's keeping us where we are, and we're going to constantly compare that to a fantasy, and we're going to self-depreciate, asking ourselves, why aren't we where we should be and where we think we should be? So this exercise was very profound. What I did was I went home, I did my homework, or I jumped off the call, I did my homework, and I asked myself the question, what are the benefits of being exactly where I am right now, here and now? And what I did was I brought to surface the unconscious benefits and the unconscious motives I had for being where I am. And on top of that, you can also go one step further and ask yourself, if I was where I wished I was, or if I had the results I wished I had, what are the drawbacks of that? And you start to chip away and crack the fantasy that you're comparing your life to. And what happens here is you have a lot of data now. You bring to surface the unconscious strategy or the unconscious motives you have that are keeping you where you are right now. And there were a few things that came up for me that were very, very crucial, very, very important to see. And long story short, I had motives to keep me where I was, right? I had benefits being where I was, otherwise I wouldn't be where I was. So I had unconscious benefits, unconscious motives for being exactly where I was. And the moment I sat down and did that exercise and asked myself, okay, the benefits of me being where I am right now, what are they? And I started to list them, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 benefits. I started to see the strategy, the unconscious strategy that I had being exactly where I was. And this level of self-awareness is incredibly profound. First and foremost, what it does is it gives you a sense of gratitude for where you are, because now all of a sudden you understand why you are where you are. And you see the motive behind your actions, and you see the motive behind what you're doing and where you are. Now, anybody who's in some sort of ceiling as in their perception, you want to find what the benefits are of being in that particular ceiling. Whatever action you're judging yourself for, you perceive yourself stuck or failing or constantly failing funded challenges or not breaking through to consistent profitability, you want to sit down and you want to ask yourself the benefits of doing that and bring to surface the unconscious strategy, the unconscious reasoning, the unconscious benefits you get and motives you have from being exactly where you are. And on top of that, you want to flip that over and you want to ask yourself, all right, what are the drawbacks if I had what I wish I had? And you want to crack that wish, that fantasy. Because as long as you're comparing your life or your results to a fantasy of how you wish they were, you're not going to be able to appreciate or bring to surface or have an awareness of the strategy that's keeping you where you currently are. Now, because it's so specific to individual circumstances, I can't give specific directions on what to do next. But once you see that strategy, and it may take 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 benefits, I know for me, when I saw that strategy and I realized that, oh, you know what, that makes a lot of sense why I'm currently am where I currently am, you can then re-strategize your game plan. You can then create alternative ways to get those same benefits with a different strategy. And you can start to bring to surface reasonings, and you have this new awareness of yourself of being where you are. Now, sometimes individuals call these limiting beliefs or self-sabotage. I personally don't believe self-sabotage exists. We as human beings make decisions based on what we perceive will give us the greatest advantage in that particular moment. Now, we don't move a muscle without a motive, so we make a particular decision or we take a particular action. What's happening in that moment, we perceive more advantage and disadvantage, otherwise we wouldn't do it. Now, an individual then looks back on that moment in their life and they say, why did I do that? I was self-sabotaging in that moment. No, you are now just unconscious of the benefits that you got in that particular moment. So by going back and seeing that moment and reliving that moment and ask yourself, what were the benefits of doing that action? Again, you bring to surface the unconscious motives, the strategy behind your actions, the unconscious benefits that were driving your decision making in that moment. So this is what this discussion was all about. It was about, I came there and I said, you know what, in fact, I was quite angry, I was quite frustrated. I'm not where I wish I was. I don't have the results that I want. And I just keep self-sabotaging. I keep having these limits and these ceilings. This is the language I was using. And the individual, the coach, performance coach just said, you want to go back, you want to have a look at what are the benefits. Bring to surface those unconscious motives, those unconscious benefits, to see the strategy, to see the reason behind you, where you are, okay? And then one additional thing I'm adding on is that you want to go and find the drawbacks of what you're comparing your life to. And you want to find the drawbacks of being in the place you wished you were right now. Because remember, as long as you compare your life to a fantasy, you're not going to be able to appreciate your life. And there's a reason, there's a perfection behind where you are right now. And you want to bring that to surface. You want to bring that strategy to surface. So if you're finding yourself repeating the same behavior over and over that you're labeling self-sabotage, if you're finding yourself stuck in some sort of ceiling, if you're finding yourself not having the results you wished you had, like I did before these performance coaching sessions, you want to ask yourself the question, first and foremost, what are the benefits of the actions I'm judging? What are the benefits of me doing the actions I'm labeling self-sabotage? What are the benefits of me not having the results I wished I had? What are the benefits of me being exactly where I am right now? And then one step further, if I had a magic wand, what would I wish I had right now? What results do I wish I had? Where do I wish I was right now with that magic wand? And if I had that right now, and that came true with that magic wand, how would that be a drawback to me, a disservice to me? How would that be a drawback and disservice to me? So you can start to crack the fantasy you're comparing your life to, and you can start to bring to surface and have an awareness of the strategy, the unconscious motives, the unconscious benefits that are keeping you exactly where you are. And when you see that laid out in front of you and you have that aha moment and that realization, you can then start to strategize with that. And you can start to put a game plan together to know where your goal is and to put a system, a strategy, a game plan together to get there. Okay? So I hope this was insightful. These have been two of the biggest realizations, lessons that I've learned. I think they came just at the perfect time in my life. To recap, the first one was questioning beliefs. Any belief that comes into your mind makes you question it. Bring it to surface, put it under a microscope. The second one here is there's no such thing as self-sabotage. Every decision you make is based on what you perceive will give you greater advantage in that moment. So if you're labeling yourself self-sabotaging, failing, repeating in a cycle of frustration, you need to bring to surface those unconscious motives. You need to see the strategy, the unconscious reasoning you have there, And that's going to give you great self-awareness to make wise decisions moving forward. So this has been day 13 and day 14 of the Master Your Trading Mindset movement. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for day 15, where we continue on with the Master Your Trading Mindset movement. We'll speak soon.